Okay, thank you for tuning in. Here we have our first video for our weather cancellation day, Thursday. You'll have a series of videos as I outlined in the Moodle announcement. This is video 1. Each video will also contain a keyword that you'll need to include in an email to me in order to receive to be considered attending class today, Thursday. So we'll just kind of go through the homework assignments. Again, those have been extended to 6 o'clock Friday due to the questions, regardless of the weather conditions. Based on the questions I was receiving last night, I thought it would be best to extend the due date for those. And hopefully these videos, tutorials, or the review that we would have done in class today had we met would be kind of building that bridge so you guys can kind of see the connections from where we were at in class to these exercises. So let's go ahead and get underway. I set up a spreadsheet here for the first question. As you go through the videos, feel free to pause them, rewind them, pull open your homework and kind of work in alongside, and hopefully that'll really help you make the connections here for chapter 10. So again, the numbers are going to be slightly different. The website's going to generate just random amounts, so don't be keyed in on those, but be more concerned with the process and how certain elements are going to be calculated here. So we have a company that was started in 2018. It acquired $89,000 cash by issuing common stock. They immediately purchased office furniture for $7,000 and manufacturing equipment for $27,000. The office furniture had an 8-year useful life and a 0 salvage value. The manufacturing equipment had a $3,600 salvage value, an expected life of, let's see here, 3 years. So let's pop that into our spreadsheet too. Salvage value for our office furniture was 0, and its useful life is 8 years. So its straight line depreciation is going to be the cost of the item minus its salvage value divided by its useful life. So 1 year depreciation for our office furniture is going to be $875. Very good. Hopefully just knocking off some dust from survey of accounting. So then we also have the manufacturing equipment. We anticipate that that will have a $3,600 salvage value, and it has a useful life of only 3 years. So again, we'll do the same math. We can take our cost, subtract off our salvage value, divide that by its useful life, and find out that the depreciation for 1 year for that manufacturing equipment is $7,800. Okay. The company paid the company paid some administrative salaries, $11,300, production wages $15,700. Also purchased materials, raw materials, $15,500. Okay. All inventory was started and completed during the year, so we know that we don't have the addition of initial inventory, subtract off the ending inventory, those parts of those calculations. So because it's a startup company, everything was started and completed during the year, this is going to really simplify some of the math we need to do when we start to look at these different elements for this first question. So we need to calculate the total product cost. That's our first question. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's decipher each of these items up here as either a product cost or a period cost. Okay, remember our product costs are the items that we think about for our manufacturing process, and our period costs are more in line with our administrative type costs. So our office furniture, that's an admin cost, that is period. Our manufacturing equipment, we're using that to produce our goods, so that is going to be a product cost in the form of our overhead, right? That's going to be our factory overhead element for this particular question. Administrative salaries, that is definitely a period cost as it relates to our administrative staff, maybe our marketing folks, maybe our accounting folks, whatever the case might be. Our production wages. Production relates to our product. That's our direct labor coming in there. Our raw materials, also a product cost. Those are the materials used for that production process. So let's take a look at what our total product costs and total period costs are then. We can simply just add these items up and calculate both of those totals. So we have $39,000 for our product costs, and we also have $12,175 for our period costs. So what was our total product cost? Our total product cost was $39,000. Average cost per unit. So let's take a look here. Let's insert a few spots so we can look at our units produced. Our units sold and our units on hand. So the problem tells us that all inventory was started and completed during the year, completed production of 5,000 units, and it sold 4,070 units. So if we produced 5,000, we sold 4,070, that means we still have on hand 930 units. Okay, very good. So our average cost per unit is going to be our total product cost divided by the units that we actually produced. So for this given example, for this problem, we're coming out to $7.80. Our cost of goods sold. Well, here we just need to simply take the units that we sold, 4,070, and multiply it by our average cost per unit. So again, our cost for our sold items, how many did we sell? What did it cost us to produce those units? So we come out to $31,746. What's our ending inventory? Well, how many units do we still have on hand? We still have 930 units on hand. So what's our ending inventory? Well, what's the cost associated with these 930 units? Still, that's $7.80. So to calculate our ending inventory, we can simply multiply our units on hand by our average cost per unit and arrive at our ending inventory of $7,254. Okay, our net income. Well, here we need to start with, we need our revenue minus our cost of goods sold minus our admin expenses. It's going to equal our net income. So our revenue, let's see here, we know how many units we sold. We'll have to go back to the problem, and tells us that we sold those for $15 each. So if we multiply our units sold times $15, we now know that we had $61,050 in revenue. So if we take our $61,050 in revenue, subtract off our cost of goods sold, and subtract off our period costs or our administrative costs, we should come to calculate a net income of $17,129. Okay, again, because this is our first year of operations, we know that our net income is going to increase our retained earnings. The problem tells us that, no dividends were stated in the problem, so we know that dividends were not paid. So, again, net income increases retained earnings, and dividends decreases retained earnings. We don't have any dividends, so we're not really too concerned about that. But our net income is going to increase our retained earnings. We're a new company, so we didn't have a balance at the beginning of the year. So our ending retained earnings is in essence the same as our net income because we're a first-year company. Only because we're a first-year company. Okay. Total assets. Well, again, we can look at this a few different ways. Remember that assets equal liabilities plus total equity. Okay? We know that we have cash. We know that we have this office furniture and this manufacturing equipment. We have this ending inventory. We have a lot of different assets that we know about. But if we go to the flip side, we don't have any liabilities, and we only have two items, common stock and retained earnings, that make up this total equity. So let's take the shortcut here. Maybe that was a little tricky, but let's take the shortcut and let's add up our liabilities, which is 0, plus our equity, which is our common stock, plus our retained earnings, and let's come to a total, 106,129. That's also our total assets, because we know that our accounting equation has to balance, it has to equal. So if we take that shortcut, that's a little bit easier than adding up our cash, our inventory, our equipment, and taking the long way. So it's a little shortcut we could take to find our total assets for this application, for this problem here. In the next video, we'll take a look at questions 2 through 4 that are all kind of predicated on the same kind of starting point, but taking the 3 different types of businesses and kind of walking through each of those. So the key word for this first video is accounting. The first key word that you want to keep track of in your notes and include in an email after you've watched all the videos here is the first key word is accounting. All right, very good. Enjoy video 2, and we'll keep rolling.